Hey guys, welcome back to Inside the Five. It is Will.
I'm Griff.
and stuff.
In today's episode, we're going to give a brief MLB update, some NFL news, a lot to handle this week. NCAA conference tournament week, huge week for college hoops, and some NBA, as well as a little Ask a Question segment from our Instagram.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Do it. All right, we're going to start things off with a quick MLB update. Apparently, on Fox, MLB on Fox News reported that Bob Nightingale said, I think we will have a deal done by tomorrow. Do we believe that?
I'll get us started here. No. Simple answer, no. I think there's a few more things that have to be decided, or unless there's a lot of things that aren't public, which obviously could happen because everything that we're figuring out throughout these past couple of weeks, ever since making these moves, have been like kind of leaked. So unless there's a lot of things that we aren't hearing about, I don't think a deal will get signed on Thursday. I think within the next couple of weeks, though, like we're making a lot of progress. I think maybe next week, the week after that, we'll have something. I don't know how you're feeling, Stav.
I kind of am with you on that. I feel like we've heard this plenty times to the point where it's always like, oh, we're gonna have a deal soon. We're gonna have a deal tomorrow, and it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. I want to believe it, but at the same time, I just don't believe it's gonna happen. I feel like there's way too much on the table right now that they still haven't really agreed upon, and even since the original negotiations, I still feel like they haven't really gone over much, especially with the money, which is the main focus. I feel like of both parties.
I agree. I was going to say, I want to believe it too. I want to hope that there's a deal done tomorrow. I'd love for there to be a deal done tomorrow. I feel like if that's the news that we're hearing today, I feel like 2 weeks is where we can kind of lay our eyes at for a deal. I do agree with you on the whole money part. Is I have seen some things about the money that they're coming together with some kind of deal. I'm not sure what the numbers were. I saw something that they said, I forgot who set the bar extremely high. They brought it down, which is causing a huge issue. And then I'm not 100% sure on all that stuff. No, I don't think anyone is outside of like what the actual meetings are about is 100% on the money.
Right. And from my understanding is if we're out here talking about money and we're talking about this contract, there was a lot of things that they tried to get done before that, like all these little rules and things of that nature. So if we're out here talking contract, I think that's one of the last things that they're going to cover is that contract. That's the last thing that they need to get done until we can officially say, okay, we're starting up, let's go. I think the fact that we're even out here talking about the money and talking about signing a new contract, that's a big deal. And I agree with you, Will. I think it's about a 2 minute mark, maybe or a 2 week mark, maybe sooner than that. I'm just very happy that we're out here talking about money because before we were talking about different rules that they could place in, and it kind of seemed like they were just filling in time. So I'm very happy to hear about that. I think that progress is gonna keep going the way that it is. It's been very good, and I'm excited. We might actually have a decent length MLB season.
I agree. The only bad thing that I don't like about this, and it's not really even a bad thing, it's more just a timeline standpoint. Like, why did it take this long to get this far? Like, there was no need, in my opinion. I mean, like, yes, obviously you need to talk. Yes, people aren't going to agree with each other, but like, I feel like we're moving so quick within the last 3 weeks because of the deadline we set. Like, why couldn't we just like act upon reasoning earlier?
I do think that both sides kind of thought that Rob Manfred was gonna he was bluffing essentially about canceling games. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll do it until he actually did it. And now they're like, oh crap, we're gonna lose actually millions of dollars if we don't play these games. Let's come to an agreement. Now both sides are gonna lose money. So
Right.
but at the same time the MLB teams aren't really going to because they just signed that huge deal with Apple. So it's like, oh, I've seen this on Twitter a lot. Oh, I thought the MLB was having a hard time getting his revenues when they just signed a 2 billion. Or was it 2 billion or is that?
Was it
It's
two
like
Bill?
I don't know if it was that or it was like 200. It was some crazy number, and I'm like, oh, I thought you guys were having a hard time coming to or getting revenues, and clearly that's not the case. If there's this high of a bidding war, I feel like if it was Apple, then Amazon was definitely in as well. So I could be 100% wrong with that number, but
That's
It's
crazy because we were talking about Peacock last week.
yeah,
I have the numbers up. Apple is a 7-year contract that comes out to 85 million a year,
yeah,
7 years. Um,
Jeez.
and then at 2 years from there on out, there's $30 million annual rights fees.
yeah.
So altogether, 115 million, unless my math was just completely off, but I think that
So
was pretty
what was
right.
it? 7
A
year
year, and
contract.
that's a year.
That's just for
Yeah,
Friday night.
7. Yeah, so 7 times 85
Just
million
for
is
Friday night.
595 million.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, almost 600 mil.
Do you
Which
think?
is
Do you, I was gonna say, do you think they'll do some kind of special thing for the playoffs, where they might get like a wild card matchup?
Yes,
yeah, I think
totally.
they will. I think they definitely will.
It's
They
gonna be
might
like
get.
Monday. It's gonna be
I
like
think
Monday
they'll
Night
get
Football on ESPN.
right. I think they'll get
Yeah,
a, a divisional. They won't get a wild card game because the way that the wild card games went last year, like it was awesome. I think they'll get a divisional, um, a little 5 game slate. Like I think they'll get blessed. They won't get like the number 1 seed, but they'll get the middle of pack
yeah,
teams. And it'll end up being a pretty good series. And whoever doesn't have Apple TV is gonna end up buying it. So I think this is a win-win scenario. Apple is paying a lot of money for this, but I mean it's also Apple, so they have a lot of money for this. And I mean, if the MLB can get together and actually play some games, I think this will be very successful. I think that a lot of people will end up buying Apple TV. I think that they're gonna have like these awesome double headers on Friday nights, which is something that the MLB has lacked in with just national broadcasts in general. And even though I mean, you could say this is I'd say this is a national broadcast. The downfall of it is you can't just turn it on the TV. But I think this is a step towards the way that everything's going in the world. And we saw it with Thursday Night Football is going to be on Amazon. Now Friday Night Baseball is going to be on Apple TV. Everything's going over to streaming services, and I'm not complaining because I've already suckered in and I've bought all these streaming services. So I guess everybody else just needs to follow. I'm totally cool with it. I'm going to be watching so many different teams that I don't usually watch. Like I think this is an awesome, awesome, awesome deal for both sides.
I
I
wonder
agree.
how it's gonna. I wonder how it's gonna play out because like there was a lot of. I'm just thinking about the NHL and ESPN Plus. There was a lot of in the gray details where so hypothetically the Bruins, right? If they play solely on ESPN Plus, we can't watch them on the local market. I wonder if
Yeah,
that's going to be like the case for the MLB because on MLB TV and like if you subscribe to that where you can watch every game, you can't watch the in market games. So I wonder how that's going to work out, and that's kind of interesting. I'm interested to see how that kind of pans out, but
yeah,
I
that's
feel
facts.
like the in
I
market
don't
games are still
understand.
protected.
Yeah, no, I don't understand that because there still is local blackout if you only have the streaming service, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
Because
I mean,
I know, like the other night, like I was trying to watch something, and I think it was like the Bruins game, and they were on ESPN, and I just wasn't like on my TV, but I have it signed in, and they're just like, no, local blackout. I'm like, what? I'm here. Like, what?
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Which like gets annoying too. So hopefully that's not the case with that deal. But I think we should get ahead and move on um onto some NFL news. We had our deadline, which had a couple of trades inside of it. First off, our big trade, I guess you could say, in Seattle. So pretty much, all right. I'm gonna break this down. You guys know I'm a Seahawks fan. That's why I'm stuttering around this. Um, Russell Wilson and our beloved 4th round pick are going to Denver. From Denver, the Seahawks are getting their QB1 of the future, Drew Lock, a 30-something-year-old Shelby Harris, the next greatest tight end of all time, Noah Fant, 2 first-round picks, including number 9 this year, so Kayvon Thibodeau, but I'll get into our potential picks later. 2 second-round picks and a 5th round. Wait, that's not the details I saw before. A 2nd-round pick, a 4th-round pick. Sorry about that. I mixed up the 5th and the 4th. But I mean, first reaction, it's sad to see him go. A man that I've watched since 2011, 2012, 2012, 2012. I don't know. It's such a weird gray area when you have an emotional connection to an athlete because it's like how much do you really know about this guy? But I've had the I've had the pleasure to meet him. I've had a couple conversations with him over a week span. Great guy, great family. I'm just sad to see him go. The one thing that I'm happy about is he's going to the AFC West, a very tough division. Justin Herbert will be running that division soon. Will Russ, Pat Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert. What's going to happen in the AFC West?
Well, first off, now you mentioned all their quarterbacks. They might have the best quarterback division in the NFL.
I think by far.
Yeah, I agree.
Two, I actually think this takes away from – this is obviously just like this is falling right into my NFL takes from the whole year. It's taking a lot from Mahomes, in my opinion. This is an easy game that's been like for them the past few years. It's not going to be easy anymore.
Right.
Like for the Broncos standpoint, like they just needed a quarterback to be like extremely, like not extremely competitive, but at least competitive in the tougher games that they play throughout the season. So like that's a big time hit for them. The Raiders are already good. The Chargers, we already know who they are. We know what they're about. And then obviously the Chiefs. That division is going to be crazy next year. I'm very excited for that division.
I am too, and I really hate the hate I'm seeing online about Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a great player.
He's an
I
awesome player.
I think he can hold his own against these quarterbacks. Like this division's up for grabs. I really don't care what anybody says. Yeah, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but now they don't have 2 free wins. You know what I mean? You know how hard
Yeah.
it would be to go into Mile High to face Russell Wilson in that new formed Broncos offense with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton? Like, that's a pretty good team. They still got some good running backs, too. That defense is going to be flying around. Who knows? Maybe they'll sign a Von Miller back from free agency at Pat Surtain. They got a lot of good players, and it's going to be hard to beat the Broncos, especially on the road in the winter, like the old Broncos with the Peyton Manning, that era. I feel like that's kind of resurfacing a little bit when they're selling out to win now.
I was just going to say that too. Like when I saw this trade, I was like, this is kind of like some kind of like Peyton Manning-esque like move. But they're like, if they can just get a few more pieces around Russ, they're going to be in a good situation.
Yeah. So like the AFC West is up for grabs, and it's not up for grabs by 2 teams, by 3 teams. All 4 teams in this division can truly win it. Just with how difficult everybody's schedule is going to be, it just depends on who wins the big games, who wins the games that they're not actually supposed to win. As for the Seahawks, though, going back to the NFC West, it's kind of, I don't want to say a smart move, but it's something that kind of had to be done. When you're in a division that has the Kyler Murray in the Cardinals, you have Matthew Stafford in the Rams, and then you have, I mean, the 49ers, who knows who's going to play quarterback there, but a very talented offensive defense no matter what, no matter who their quarterback is. Seattle's not going to win the division for a couple of years. I don't think they're going to win the division for a couple of years with Russell Wilson. So I think, you know what, it's time. He's got to pack his bags. Let's get a little younger, and that's exactly what we did. And I got a question, and I'll get more into it at the end of the episode from our questions that were sent in through Instagram about kind of what's going to go down in Seattle the next few years and about getting these picks. How big is that for them? We didn't gain picks. We just got picks back from the Jamal Adams trade. So it's not like we are setting ourselves up better for the future from what we originally had without Jamal. We just got our picks back. We lost our star quarterback. He's 33 years old. I don't see us winning a Super Bowl in the next 5, 6, 7 years, which is probably how much longer he has left of like greatness. So I think at this point it's time. It's going to be a long road for Seattle fans, but this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to youthen up, get a lot younger, and I'll talk about the other guy, Bobby Wagner, who got cut. $17 million freed up in cap space. We have cap. We got our picks back. we have a long road to go, but we're going to be young. We're going to be fun team. Pete Carroll, who knows how much longer he has, but I think Pete Carroll's going to stay as the coach. I think Pete Carroll is going to do a great job with the amount of youth that they have because of how successful he was in college. And think about when we won the Super Bowl. I mean, we as in my team, obviously you guys aren't Seahawks fans. Um, when we won the Super Bowl, everybody was young. We had a young Richard Sherman, we had a young Earl Thomas, a young Cam Chancellor, Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, a couple of vets here and there, but we had Bennett, Bobby Wagner. Like we had some serious young guys. They really got around Pete Carroll, and it seemed to work out. So why not have a young team with this coach? Because that's the way he coaches. That's who he relates to. He's going to stick with them. I think we're going to be a lot better than people think we are, just straight up based off that. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see. I mean, those are my two favorite players. Top two out of my top three favorite Seahawks players of all time. And it's just sad to see him go. It's kind of Tom Brady and Gronk-esque.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we'll get into it later, obviously, when we have the questions. But I've been saying this. I do think that the Seahawks are still a scrappy team. You know what? I
Right.
think Drew Lock in the right situation can succeed. He's still very young. I mean, we'll see. We'll get into it again, but I wouldn't shut down the realm of possibility of the Seahawks being competitive.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'd rather save it for the question. There's also more news from around the NFL. One that I prefer not to really, in my opinion, I don't like this move, but like it's whatever. Aaron Rodgers signs an extension, 4 years, $200 million with the Packers, and they also franchise tag Devontae Adams along with this to go off right away. There was no need for the last dance. I thought that shenanigan really was already a bunch of BS to begin with. Now he just resigns with them. Like I don't understand him at all anymore. I don't get it. Like whatever, like they're still gonna lose to the 49ers in the playoffs. Like it just I don't understand the move.
Well, it's interesting you bring it up. I think the only chance that the Packers do have at winning right now is with Aaron Rodgers. However, he is not really won, and you still bring back Devontae Adams. I still think they are a few pieces away from actually competing in the NFC, because the NFC right now is a gauntlet. And, I mean, the whole league's a gauntlet. I feel like there's
Yeah.
no clear-cut winner ever. Like,
Mm.
but I don't know, was the contract really confirmed? Because he said that the contract wasn't confirmed.
He said it. He said it wasn't, which leads me to believe that obviously it's not because when your source is the person that's making the money. Um, but the news broke through the Pat McAfee show. Obviously, Pat McAfee, Colts punter, or ex Colts punter, obviously like superstar podcast guy, like big friends with Aaron Rodgers as well. So Aaron Rodgers straight up told him he's back. I don't know where he got all these numbers from, but 4 years, 200 mil. First off, he's a $200 million guy. Um, but
Agreed.
set, but second, is he a 4 year guy? Is the question. Like, if he's gonna stay all 4 years, understood. But if these numbers are true, then my guess is Aaron Rodgers plays 2 more years, and then he doesn't play again, and he just brings in his money, and it's a win-win scenario for both teams. Maybe they can sneak into the Super Bowl. I still don't see them ever winning a Super Bowl again under Aaron Rodgers. But with back to this money, just real quick, if they actually signed him for $200 million, they're gonna have to get rid of a piece,
Yeah.
and they don't have a lot of cap, so they're gonna have to get rid of someone like a Zadarius Smith or a Preston Smith, a big defensive piece, and that's not gonna help them out as well. Aaron Rodgers was only gonna stay if he had pieces around him. You can't get pieces around you if you're making more money than like most teams are even earning a year. So
Well,
it's
well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I don't understand the move. Not from the Packers standpoint, from Aaron Rodgers' standpoint. Like, what's the point of signing with a team that you already threw a temper tantrum with? Just throw another one in like a year and a half. Like, is he going to get upset again in the offseason, which you were already in? He's going to be like, "Oh, they didn't sign anyone. Why did I do this deal?" And then he's going to get all mad and be like, "Last Dance Part 2." Like, I just like I just don't get like why throw a whole fit about the Packers franchise and then sign back because they're giving you $200 million. Like, cool, you deserve your $200 million. Like, not taking that away from you. You went back-to-back MVPs. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But, like, dude, there's a clear-cut different situation that you can join, and you'll probably be much better off than being with the Green Bay Packers.
What it doesn't make sense to me at all is I want to know the statistic behind it, but I think quarterbacks that sign, I think over $100 million contracts just never win. Like they because you can't form a team around paying a majority of your cap to one guy. Like I always allude back to the Patriots just because I grew up through that system, basically, like seeing how they dealt with everything. If you overpay for one player and they don't pan out, you are screwed. Like, that's why I don't really care if the Patriots don't overspend. Like, Tom Brady he always signs team-friendly deals, and that's why the Patriots are always competitive. And that's why you always see a lot of teams with quarterbacks on their rookie contracts who can make it to the Super Bowl because they can fit teams around them. We're seeing it, especially now. A lot of teams make it to the Super Bowl kind of on their rookie deals or like on a team-friendly deal. So I'm interested to see. I mean, if I'm like, speaking of Tom Brady, if I'm Tom Brady and I see Aaron Rodgers signing this contract, maybe I can tell the wife and kids to wait another year or two before I retire. Like,
actually,
$50 million a year. That's double what he was making.
Right, and I don't think that I agree with everything that you just said. I think that the reason why quarterbacks are winning at such a young age. We saw it with Mahomes, and I know Will's gonna love me comparing this to a Chiefs situation. And that's why the Chiefs screwed themselves in the long run. They gave Mahomes $500 million. Who even knows how much more you can save up? And you brought up Stav going up through the way that the Patriots did it and really paying attention to that. My team, the Seahawks, the way that we did it is once they're off their rookie contract, we're screwed. They're done. And we did that. We signed Earl Thomas once again, and he didn't work out. We signed Richard Sherman again. He didn't work out. But like guys like Doug Baldwin, who have a lot of use at the amount that he's paid, we got kind of lucky through those years where it was like we didn't have a quarterback because Russ was on his rookie deal. So like we didn't have a quarterback eating up a lot of financials, so we could sign these guys. But like once we sign these guys, this is how it works every single situation. And I don't know how the NFL hasn't wrapped their head around this. Quarterbacks should be making a lot less money. You could say it's the most difficult position in football. I'd agree with you, but at the same time, there's also 10 other positions on offense, 11 other on defense, 3 more on special teams. You can't be giving your quarterback a fourth of your cap when you have so many other positions of need, so many other positions that need to be paid. So Aaron Rodgers, total hypocrite. I think he's always been forever. I feel like this past couple of episodes, we've been talking about just straight, like, I don't even know how to word these people without using rude names, but like we've talked about Coach K, we've talked about Aaron Rodgers, and who else did we talk about in the last episode? That LeBron, like all these guys, like they really kind of coincide together. Where it's like you talk about winning as a team until you get paid. I mean, your contract is worth like added up everybody else's contract. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers just completely looks like an idiot, even if he signs for this much money, because you're coming back to the team that you said you need help around, and you're not even going to allow them to get help for you. So, it never makes sense to me.
That's literally like basically what I was trying to get at. Like there's no logic behind anything, and like that's the part that makes me upset is because like how do you go back on your word like that quickly? Like cool. Like I mean, I guess if I was in that situation and a team offered me 4 years, $200 million, like hell yeah, I'd think about it. But like, what are you really doing at the end of the day?
Right. And I'm guessing that wasn't like the original numbers that they gave him, and he probably wanted more. Like he got his money, but he's not going to get another ring. Moving on, we have some Deshaun Watson news, Willie.
Yep.
That's the first in a while. Deshaun Watson. First off, yeah, let me think about this. Deshaun Watson. First off, I haven't even thought about him since yesterday. Yesterday was the first time in a long time I thought of Deshaun Watson because right when Russell Wilson got traded, in my head was immediately Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson gets freed and he's not in a Seahawk uniform next season, I will be pissed. I will be pissed.
This is big news. Like,
This is
like,
big news.
like he was like franchise tag freebie now. Like, get me out of
Yeah.
here. No, I actually like. Like I hopped on Twitter. I was like, "What's going around the NFL? Like, there's got to be something crazy going on in the midst of like all these trades and stuff like that." And then there's just like Adam Schefter. The jury will hear his evidence on Friday. Like, okay, cool. Like, let's
Yeah,
go.
so
Like, who's he signing for? Who's trading? And then all I heard was Seahawks are on that list for first teams to make a move for him. The Dolphins are probably right up there too because when are they not up there? Like it's
yeah, I think
I
if
don't like it's inevitable. It's like
if
inevitable that they're.
Deshaun Watson gets found innocent through all of this, I think that we'll see a Seahawks package that involves a fan, Drew Luck, and the picks that they gave us. So I think we'll get Shelby Harris. We'll lose all the picks that we just gained, and then maybe a few more because Deshaun Watson's like 25 years old. Like I don't even care, bro. Deshaun Watson is like amazing at football. Like, and if he's innocent, then he's innocent. I'm not gonna teeter around this and get canceled or anything, but um, Deshaun Watson, from I'm looking straight tunnel vision at his football ability. If he's on the Seahawks, we're a playoff team, and I think that we'd be better off in the next 10 years with Watson than we would with Russell Wilson. So I mean, I would
Oh,
love to
I
have
agree.
Deshaun Watson, one of my favorite players in the NFL when he's playing.
Well, it's interesting you bring up, like, especially with the trajectory of the next 10 years. People forget how good Deshaun Watson was and how young he is. Like,
Yes.
as I think we should have like a little message across the screen whenever we say his name. We're talking if he's innocent. He's a great
Yes,
player.
we're also
And
talking about him
Yes,
from his
yes,
football,
on field
not nothing
perspective, on
else.
field,
not,
Yes,
nothing
yeah, on
yes,
outside
field.
yes,
of
yes.
the stadium antics.
All right.
Sensational
But
football player.
Griff, you might not want to hear this. However, my dark horse for Deshaun Watson is to go to the Panthers. I think the Panthers need a quarterback. I think they have a lot of capital to trade for Deshaun Watson. They could probably package Sam Darnold, Robbie Anderson's up for a trade, and a few picks for Deshaun Watson. They have higher pick. The Texans could be interested in that. But also, at the same time, the Seahawks have capital now to trade for him too. So
Yeah,
who knows
yeah,
what's
which
going
is
to
big.
happen? We have
Yes.
to wait for Friday. You'll hear it. You'll hear it from inside the five if he's innocent or guilty.
Wait,
Well, like it's just like interesting. Like, where's his value?
high,
Like, like,
high if
like no,
innocent.
no, it's high, but like no, like that's what I'm saying. I'm like as of right now, like his value it has to be in the mud. But like after Friday, I mean, who
After
knows?
Friday, it's back to, oh my gosh, Deshaun Watson is a football player, and he's not going to be playing for the Texans no matter what, because before this all went down, he said he wasn't going to play for the Texans. We forgot he Le'Veon Belled us before all this stuff went down. So if he's innocent, he's not playing for the Texans, meaning there's a trade coming, and I'm hoping it's going to come within the next few weeks, or at least before the draft, because I really think that Seattle's going to go make a push to get him. I think Seattle might have a little inside source that knows he's going to be innocent. But at the same time, my favorite player of all time just got traded, so I'm going a little insane. So I don't actually know what's happening, and I'm just hoping for the best at this
A
point.
little inside source in the judicial system of the United States in the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
two
We
go
don't
hand in
know.
hand.
Do
So
we really know how the
It's the
U.S.
12th. It's
works
the
with
12th
all that?
man.
The 12th
It's the
man
12th
lets
man.
us know, bro. Like, come on, it's the Seahawks. Yeah,
it's
like
a
this
stupid
isn't.
question on my part.
Yeah, bro, come on. Like the 12th man is literally the judicial system. So, all right. Well, Deshaun Watson.
Moving on.
Who are we on?
We're moving on to the
Oh,
Commanders.
we're moving. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so
Carson Wentz is officially on the Washington Commanders, and they will be taking on his full contract. Why?
they also sent over, I think, 3 third-rounders. So congrats to the Colts for losing a first-rounder on Carson Wentz because you literally used him to not make the playoffs. So close to making the playoffs, and who'd they lose to in the last week? Who was it? Oh my gosh, they lost to the Jaguars. I forgot if it was the Jaguars or the Texans. Yeah, they got killed by the Jags in the last week, and they lost a first rounder. And what did they get back? 3 third-rounders and a little bit of cash. So, Carson Wentz, Commanders. I saw all over Twitter today, like the Commanders just got a top 10 quarterback in the league. No, Carson Wentz is terrible. Antonio Gibson isn't Jonathan Taylor. Antonio Gibson is a pretty good running back. I think the Commanders will do the same thing that they would have done if they just had Taylor Heineke running things over there. I don't think Carson Wentz is anything special.
I'm gonna disagree.
Oh.
No, I mean I'm kidding. He's probably weak.
Yeah, because it happens every time. It happens every time.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know what they're doing because I do think that Taylor Heineke has more upside than Carson Wentz on a better deal, and he has that locker room. Everyone likes Taylor Heineke in the Washington program. He's yet to have a full season to himself as the quarterback, whether it be injury or being a backup. Why not give Taylor Heineke the keys to the franchise for at least a year? Like
he
let
won
him
a playoff game.
Yeah, like he's a proven. I don't want to say he's a proven winner, but like he is willing to put the beliefs and on the line.
He's got the right mindset.
Like we really think that Carson Wentz is going to step in fourth quarter, like score a touchdown?
No, because he'll be hurt in the second.
Is he gonna do anything?
No, he's not gonna do anything. I just think it's hilarious that the Colts literally got him just because Frank Reich likes him, and they used a first-round pick on him just because of that, and they literally got 3 third-rounders back. They couldn't even get a second-rounder out of it. I think both sides lost this trade. I think whenever Carson Wentz gets traded, both sides will lose this trade because Carson Wentz is a starting quarterback, but I don't care anymore. Carson Wentz should not be in this league. Like he's just annoying at this point. Like I hate when he gets traded. I hate when there's any news around him because no matter where Carson Wentz is, you're due to go like 500 or a couple games below. And it doesn't matter. He could literally go to the best team on planet Earth, and he would lose them games because of how bad Carson Wentz is now. And he used Carson Wentz, MVP candidate at one point. Did he win the MVP?
Nope.
They love using
Okay,
that
he
on
almost
him.
did.
That's
He
like
almost did. See,
like
this is
Carson
why I like
Wentz
having
lovers.
Stav. That's why I like having Stav because I have these questions in my head, and Stav just knows them. Like, how do you know that he didn't win that MVP?
Because it was 2017 when Tom Brady won and the Patriots faced the Eagles, and he was hurt, so he didn't.
You do that, Will? If I asked you that, you would have been like, "Oh, nice, yeah."
Yeah, no, I definitely would have told you that.
Shut up.
I don't know. I don't know why. Like this isn't the division for him. It didn't work out the first time with the Eagles.
There's
why
no such thing as a division for him. And the Cowboys just got 2 free wins. They would have usually split with Washington. The Eagles are now fighting against Washington. The defense was awful last year. They dealt with injuries, and they also just dealt straight up with inconsistency from guys like Chase Young. And like they have a safety that's white, so they're not going to be good at football. It's as simple as that. Apke. He ran a fast 40, and he hasn't been fast since then. He's terrible. He ran the 40 in like 4.2.
Just for the 40.
He ran like a 4.29 40, and since then he runs like a 7. Like he is slow. He's not good. And then they tried to move him to corner last year.
Yeah,
they played him in the preseason there, and then they moved him right back. Like they have big holes. And Carson Wentz doesn't know quarterback.
An interesting question. I want both of you to answer. I'm going to start with Will's opinion on this. Who would you rather have as your quarterback? Carson Wentz or Daniel Jones?
Give me Danny Dimes any day. I think on a good team, he could actually provide like some solid quarterback play. I mean, he's already a tank out there. He freaking runs like he's Saquon Barkley. They got two of them on the same team, and then he can actually sling
Just
the
one.
rock a little bit
Saquon
too.
never plays.
Oh, that's very true. Like he's never out there, so like
Yeah,
it
no,
really
Saquon
matter.
doesn't actually play football.
Yeah, no, I think I'd rather have Daniel Jones. I think he's
Griff,
good.
what do you
I
think?
think he's good.
I agree 100% with Will. I think Daniel Jones is the best athlete out of Duke in the past 10 years. I think that he's the only thing other than Jason Tatum. Like this doesn't count Jason Tatum. I don't count Jason Tatum as someone from Duke. He's only there for like two weeks. Um, I think that Daniel Jones has the ability to be one of the greatest halfbacks that played quarterback of all time. And I think that Daniel Jones can throw the ball very far, but not very accurate. Those are all things that Carson Wentz can't do, because Carson Wentz can't throw the ball far, and it's still not very accurate. So overall, like Carson Wentz is just literally one of the worst players one of the worst, best football players I've ever seen in my life. That's not going to make sense, but it should if you think like
He's
I
the
do.
worst what
Daniel
if ever.
Jones, and this is why I like Taylor Heineke. Daniel Jones will literally put his body on the line on like a 1st and 25 off like a big penalty. Like he'll try to run for the 25 yards and they'll be down by like 30 points. Danny Dimes wants it. The issue is Danny Dimes gets hurt when he wants it. So Carson Wentz gets hurt anyway. So I'm just going to go Daniel Jones, younger, throws the ball further, and he runs really fast.
So the thing with Carson, I agree with that. I just kind of want to hear because I've been seeing that comparison. Carson Wentz likes to make bad situations worse,
Yes.
and I just feel like FedEx Field is in general is just such a dumpster fire that
Yeah, I didn't
it's
even
just
think
gonna be
about that.
hilarious to watch. To be honest, just like
They need to
Carson Wentz
move.
slipping Carson Wentz slipping all over the place, like on his backside, throwing a ball up in the air that gets picked off by a D lineman when they're on their own one. So it's gonna be funny.
Carson
I think
Wentz.
he's
Carson
such a
Wentz has
joke.
3 years left in the NFL. That's my prediction.
Yeah, this is his last year because he's not going to be good.
He won't be good at all, and I'm sad about it. I like seeing guys from the FCS be successful, and Carson Wentz being one of the greatest FCS players of all time. It's just nice to see that like it's not all about the SEC. It's not all about like these big schools. That guys like Carson Wentz can go out there, be a first round pick, be the first overall pick, and it's just sad because the only reason he's not good at football anymore is because of his injuries. He was once a great player, but he's done, and I think everybody's just holding on to him for a little bit too long. And he's gonna get this last chance to be a starting quarterback, and he's gonna blow it. And he'll most likely, if not get injured, he'll do what he did with the Colts. He'll be a couple games under 500, and the Washington Commanders are going to regret that they wasted a year that they could have used on a young guy that could potentially be something. So Carson Wentz, no matter what, it's a lose-lose situation.
Honestly, yes. But the second thing is, I bet you he gets beat out for the starting job.
You think so? Because I think
It has to be a competition. There's freaking 4 quarterbacks that could start there.
Is
That is
Fitzpatrick back?
true. I think Fitzpatrick retired. Did he
I think
not?
he did.
He retired. Kyle Allen's there too. He plays like every now and then for them. He's good.
I do like Kyle Allen.
That's
I like
Riverboat
Kyle
Ron's
Allen.
guy.
Yeah, that
That's
is.
Ron's guy.
They came through together.
They did.
Kyle Allen.
That's his guy. That's his ride or die. That Cam went down. They're like, this is our guy.
The Commanders are going to draft a quarterback in the mid rounds too.
Yeah,
I
of
bet,
course
just
they are.
because I feel like they draft a quarterback in the mid rounds like every year and then they drop them. But I was gonna say, real quick, I want to get back to the Seahawks before we Actually, no, I'll save it for later. I'm sorry for even bringing that up because I'll save it for later because we're going to be talking about them again. But moving on, big news from Arizona. Kyler Murray, this is like the funniest thing ever because like this is the first time where social media is like actually impacting us like completely with a player. Kyler Murray, this is going to sound so dumb, and all the old heads that listen to us are going to be like, what does this have to do with anything? Kyler Murray reposted the Cardinals on his Instagram. That's a pretty big deal. That is a big
Good
deal.
job, Tyler.
Don't worry, Cardinals guys. Everything is all under control here.
That's big.
Wait,
That's
not
like,
only did he
fear no
repost
more.
them, hold on. Not only did he repost them, he followed them again. Like, they're all the way back.
yeah,
What
That's
in
big.
the 6th grade is this? Like,
that's how it works. Kyler
Don't
Murray
play
looks like he's in
baseball,
6th grade,
dude.
so that's how he's doing it.
I
don't know.
Kyler Murray
The NFL
makes
pisses me
upset.
off sometimes, and every single bullet point that we have on our notes today about the NFL, and this is the end before we get into our questions late at the end of the episode. Every single bullet point has pissed me off. Russell Wilson getting traded, you can see why. Aaron Rodgers, he's an asshole. Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz pisses me off, and now Kyler Murray. That's like when you get in a fight with your girlfriend and like she blocks you on everything, so you have to Gmail her. Like this is like that's of that nature. So the NFL, bad couple of days from the NFL in my opinion. It's been a lot of news, which is good because all publicity is a good publicity unless you're Deshaun Watson. But moving on, conference tournament week is upon us officially. This is the greatest week of March, I'm gonna say. This is the greatest 2-week span of March. This week, next week, and we have our conference tournaments. Next week we have the round of 64, the round of 32. This is awesome. I'm so happy to be here. I just want to say first off, the big conferences are starting this week. The big conferences started on Tuesday. On Tuesday with the ACC. Who else played yesterday? There was a couple of different ones.
SEC starts today. Pac-12 might have started yesterday, or if not today.
I think the Pac-12 starts today.
But no, I'm extremely, extremely excited. Unfortunately, we have to start off with the worst conference in college. Gonzaga won the West Coast Conference.
Yeah,
St.
congrats.
Mary's also punched a ticket into the tournament, so that's bigger news than Gonzaga. We were all ready for that one.
How'd they punch a ticket?
Bryant, seating because of their they what's it called on the prediction. My bad. On the prediction, I have it there. They clinched.
Oh, on Joe Lunardi's bracketology.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? I want to say I didn't know if it was like a physical clinch, but I agree.
No.
So I just didn't know the way that you meant it.
No,
but I agree.
no, yeah, I didn't mean that. Like that's what I was trying to explain.
You're right. I just didn't know if like someone like came out and like put it in stone or something. But they're definitely predicted. They are definitely in.
Yeah, they're in. So they're getting in. Bryant will be fighting to play in as a 16 seed. There was actually a brawl last night at the game.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you guys saw any of the highlights of this game, but Bryant absolutely walloped Wagner.
Yes.
I think it got up to a 36-6 start or something like that. I'm surprised they didn't win by more. But who's that guy Kiss on Bryant? Is his last name?
Oh my gosh. He might. Yeah, it is Kiss. He might win the first round single-handedly.
Yeah, by himself. This kid was making every shot, and he's cocky. Oh, he's gonna piss off so many people. He's gonna piss off so many old heads, like in the round of 64.
Every single bucket he makes, he celebrates. Yeah. Every single one. It's awesome.
It's like my 2K character. Like
yes.
No, like this kid's crazy. I think the coach snapped at him in the middle of the game, like, dude, what are you doing? We're up by 50, and you're still like doing cartwheels and stuff. Like, calm down. No, this kid's interesting. He's kind of electric, but I can totally see myself getting pissed off at him if like somehow, and I don't know how the seeding is gonna work, but if like LSU matches up with Bryant somehow and like Kiss hits a jump shot and like celebrates, I'm gonna get pissed off. I'm just mentally prepared for that.
Yeah, I think if you're LSU, you could maybe see him in the second round if they because Bryant's going to be a 16 seed. I don't
Are
even
they?
think they'll get.
Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah.
be the first. Like they're gonna be playing in
Never
the
mind.
first four in little
I
team.
hope Bryant
Yeah.
faces Gonzaga and beats them. That would be so funny.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we're still on Gonzaga because I don't think Gonzaga's gonna make it to the Elite Eight.
I don't
I
like
don't think they
Gonzaga.
have it in them.
I'll probably
Their
have them losing in
guard,
the second
their
round.
guard, I don't remember his name because he's not actually a real person, just like everybody that attends that university, other than Chet Holmgren and then Jalen Suggs as well. Nobody else there is real. So that point guard, his lack of consistency is a big deal. Because when he's on, they are the greatest team in the nation. But most of the time he's off. I don't think Gonzaga deserves to be the number one seed. I think they deserve a number one seed in March Madness. I'm saying like the nation AP poll. I don't think they should be the number one seed. I see a few different teams that could get it. Um, it's gonna go to Gonzaga anyways after beating St. Mary's. Um, Gonzaga is not making it to the Elite Eight. If they do, it's just straight up because of that coach. That coach is awesome. They don't have a lot of bench because they're not real. Um, Chet Holmgren is scrawny. If he can put a couple pounds on, he's going to be a good player in the NBA. Drew Timme, not a real person. I'll never believe in Gonzaga to actually win one. I don't think they have it in them at all.
I'm anti Gonzaga,
I
especially.
am
I
too.
don't know why. I have like a personal vendetta against. I have a personal vendetta against powerhouses in sports that don't face anyone strong. Like when Gonzaga is in this conference with two teams max that are going to make the tournament, I think St. Mary's, maybe San Francisco. Is San Francisco in that conference?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they're
those two are probably going to be the only other two teams in that conference to make the tournament, but they're not even going to
if
be high
I
seed.
don't know if
Like,
San Fran will even make it.
yeah,
I
and
don't
like
think San
that's
Fran's
not
gonna
like
be in it.
two other teams max. Like I don't think they're
Yeah.
even going to be in it. So like one other team is going to be in the tournament. I hate how they're a one seed just because their strength of schedule doesn't even compare to some of the lower seeds in the ACC and the SEC. Like we talk about it all the time. Like Arkansas, Tennessee. I feel like Tennessee could give Gonzaga a run for their money, and like
100%.
Oh yeah,
they're going to be a lower seed in the tournament, not lower like a 4 or 5 seed, but like you know what I mean. I just don't feel like strength of schedule weighs in as much of a factor as it should.
Right, and I think
I
they play
agree.
they play a decently tough out of conference schedule. They have like a couple of games that aren't great opponents, but other than that, like they've played Texas, UCLA, Duke, Bama when they were ranked, Texas Tech, just to name a few. But a lot of the games that they do play are in conference. That's the reason they're 26-3. The games that they've lost to, Duke, Bama, and then they lost a crazy one to St. Mary's. I remember watching at St. Mary's on senior night. So that was a big upset slate. But they've lost to 3 ranked teams because St. Mary's is ranked as well. They've only played, I think, 5 ranked games, so they're 2-3 against ranked opponents. I'm gonna put the stamp on them. They're frauds. They're
Yep, I agree.
frauds.
I agree. I agree. I would say more about Gonzaga, but you guys pretty much already covered
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
I had to like completely dismantle them about. They're not it.
right.
I did want to talk about Lenardi's bracket predictions because they're quite interesting. They move every day. I always find them very intriguing to look at because Indiana's on the first team out list, which is a big team to have on that list, and then SMU is on the last team in, which is very interesting.
Yeah, the Ponies, an absolute powerhouse. The Hoosiers, 18-12. They are ninth, ninth in the Big Ten. Um, it's just tough. They played a tough schedule this year. They beat some teams that they had to beat. They lost to some teams that they also had to beat. I could totally see them not making the tournament because the thing is with the Big Ten, it's you're playing obviously some of the best teams in the nation. If you're not winning games, and I always say it this way, if you're not winning games that you're not supposed to win, but like those little sneak up games where you're at home, maybe you can take down a ranked opponent, you're screwed. So it's not the best 64 teams in the nation to be in in the in March Madness. So some guys get snubbed out. I think Indiana makes sense that they won't be in it.
No, I agree. I just thought it was interesting because they were on a little bit of a run. They were doing well. Could be interesting.
Yeah, they had a good little run. I don't think they'll do anything in this tournament.
Yeah, no.
I'm in
I
agreement.
think even if they made it, I don't think they would make a lot of noise, but it was interesting to see that there. But I did want to talk about a couple games that already happened today. One being a big game, Syracuse FSU. Syracuse absolutely dismantled them. Buddy Bayham threw a punch, and they won 96 to 50.
Yeah, not only was it Buddy Boeheim throwing punches, but they were just raining threes the whole game.
Yeah.
Syracuse, my dark horse team to make a semifinal run in this ACC tournament, sitting at 16-16 right now. They finished ninth in the ACC. But when it comes down to it, this is the best team when it comes to team chemistry. They have two brothers on their team, and the two brothers' dad is their head coach. And then they have Joe Girard III, who I'm pretty sure is a Boeheim as well. He looks like the Boeheims. He is a walking bucket. Buddy Boeheim, may I say, the second greatest Syracuse player of all time. I'm going to go out and say it. Carmelo's number one. The other guys that they had didn't play a full 4 years. Buddy Boeheim has been doing this for years in the Carrier Dome. The Carrier Dome is literally his house. When he gets packages delivered, it is to the Carrier Dome. Buddy Boeheim is legit. Buddy Boeheim is one of those guys that erupts in March. And another person, not only Girard, not only Jimmy Boeheim, not only Buddy Boeheim, Cole Swider is a great player, 6'9". He plays center for them. Listed at forward. He's from Rhode Island. If he can do something in this ACC tournament, they're going to win a few games. The only way they're getting into March Madness, however, is if they win the ACC tournament. Sadly, I don't think they have enough bench to do so. Syracuse, though, a big win over FSU. FSU, who a lot of people at the beginning of the season thought were going to be in the tournament, that is no chance anymore. I think they were the 8th seed. It was because it was the 8 versus the 9. FSU just really couldn't get anything going. Had a lot of foul trouble late. Or not. I mean, and by then it didn't even matter. Syracuse just right away, they got right into it.
I mean, Syracuse. Where did I hear this before? That this might be their first losing season.
Yeah. So, this might be Jim Boeheim's first season under 500 ever.
Yeah. So,
Ever.
but I mean, I think if they win
one
more,
they'll be 500.
Yeah. Regardless, I don't.
Yes.
But I kind of wanted to talk about BC and how they upset Wake Forest, because BC isn't really good. They're 13-19 right now.
Yep.
But I mean, the brothers in the backcourt of Micaiah Ashton Langford and Derek. What is it? DeMar Langford.
DeMar.
Isn't why am I? Is Micaiah from Worcester?
They both are. DeMar went to SPM.
No, yeah. If
yeah.
one of them's from Worcester, then the other one's from. Yeah, but that's kind of cool seeing local kids. Well, I mean, even if I doubt they'll win the ACC. I doubt that. But is that their only shot at making the tournament? I assume so.
Yeah. They're sitting at 13-19, an awful conference record. But it's hard when you're BC in the ACC. I'm glad that we talked about this game as well because I've met the Langfords multiple times. I played rec league with them growing up. So this was a great win for Boston College in general, not only for the Langford brothers, but BC in whole. Putting your name up there in the ACC, beating a team like Wake Forest, who Wake Forest had a great season. They had the ACC Player of the Year. They're 23-9. Just to take a team like that down gives a lot of momentum when it comes to the recruiting process in Boston College. And if they can keep pulling off upsets this late like this on a yearly basis, you're going to start to see some recruits landing in Chestnut Hill. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great for Boston College because that's the way you get recruits is by winning games and winning these big games that you're not supposed to win. I love saying it. I'm going to say it literally for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of have this similar conversation with BC every single year. Like, oh, if they win this game, recruits are going to start coming, and then eventually we get excited, and then it just doesn't happen. I hope it does, just because pull for BC
Yeah,
as
I
kind of
mean,
locals.
a big change is the change in head coach. This is his
Yeah.
first year. Coach Earl Grant. I just wanted to say that I love him as the head coach. I think he's a fantastic college basketball head coach. I think he's going to do great things. I think he's going to turn around this franchise, and then he's going to go off and get a bigger, better job when one opens. So I think the future is very bright for Boston College. They're in a great market. They're in a great division or great conference in the ACC. They have everything that they need to go off and sign some recruits. And New England is a big area for basketball. It's a very slept on area. They can also steal guys from New York that would go to Syracuse or other destinations around that area. I think this is really the start for Boston College. I don't think they're going to win another game the rest of the season, but just to steal this one's really big.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So moving on to the NBA, just got a couple of things to cover here. Devin Booker coming back. I don't think he's played since the All-Star break, has he?
No. No.
I don't. I want to say I don't think so.
Right. So I guess we'll just cover this real quick. Chris Paul is still going to be out for a little bit. The Suns still sitting as the number 1 seed, rightfully so. I think they've only lost 13 or 14 games. We talked about their game against the Bucks on our previous episode. If you guys want to check out what we talked about the Suns, so we don't really have to cover it on this. But yeah, bringing Devin Booker back at this time. They're set for another little run. Hopefully Cam Johnson can come back full strength too, because I think he'll be back soon. And the Suns could be looking at another finals run.
I agree.
I think the Suns are going to win the West. I just think they're too talented, like I said last episode. But Devin Booker coming back obviously only makes them a lot scarier.
Right, that's facts. So looking up at some games that are coming up this week, 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday. So we'll throw out some predictions there because you guys will already hear them, or you guys will already see the results by Friday when this episode comes out at 3 p.m. First off, our own Celtics, you got to throw them in every single episode because obviously that's our squad. Taking on the Hornets on Wednesday. I think we're full strength, right?
Yes, we're full strength.
Yeah.
Full strength. I want to say the Hornets are as well. Terry Rozier coming off a 30-point night after Kyrie dropped 50 on him on 19 shots, which was a great performance. Straight up, Celtics minus 7.5. I like them at spread. I like them at money line.
Yep.
I got the Celtics.
I got the Celtics too. I think this is going to be a really good game, and I think the Celtics are going to win by a lot. And I think we're going to see Nick Stauskas play tonight, which I'm excited to see because I like him.
Do we all like the spread? 7.5.
What's the spread at? Yes, I do.
I'll take it. I'll take it right now. I will literally
Not a
plug it
betting
in
man,
right now.
but I'm going to take it.
Yeah, so
Hypothetically.
moving on, we have Hawks Bucks. I think this will be a good game. Trae Young, I want to say they're in the play-in right now. I don't know exactly where they are in the play-in. I want to say the 9 seed. Trae Young, though, the 10. Trae Young is a guy that can will his team into the playoffs no matter what. I think a big test game right here for the Bucks. Maybe an upset spot for the Bucks. I'm gonna take the Hawks.
I'm also going to take the Hawks, and I'm predicting a big game from Trae Young. I think he's going to wallop them with points. I think he's going to have a really great night.
I mean, the Hawks are such a tricky team to pick and choose from just because they always choke, I feel like they can't really close out games. I like the Bucks here. I think the Bucks home or are the Hawks home?
I think the Hawks are at home. No. My bad. It's at the Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee's going to win this game. I don't think they're going to, especially they didn't really play too great against the Suns, especially because the Suns were missing everyone, and that was a close game. I think that Giannis has something to still say. You don't want his name
and I don't think anybody on that Hawks team can guard Giannis.
Or Middleton. I just don't think that Hawks team can play even like the slightest bit of defense.
Right. So moving on to still on Wednesday. My bad. We got Suns Heat. Heat on a little Eastern Conference, or Suns on a little Eastern Conference kick. The Heat, who have, I feel like, in a sense, they haven't fell off, but a lot of their hype has died down. You don't hear
They're
about them as much
plateauing.
anymore. Yeah, they're plateauing at a good spot, you could say. Um, I like the Suns though. D Book coming back. Um, they are in Miami, right?
Yes.
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 So yeah, I like the Heat in this game. 44-22. In Miami, I think this will be a big game for them. A nice little cross international, no, cross national game. Phoenix tired on a road stretch. D Book coming back. I think they used it all against Milwaukee. I'm going to go the Heat.
Yeah, I got the Heat here too. I really don't.
I'll take the
I think
Suns. Why not?
I think the Heat are such a solid defensive team. I think they're the most complete team in the East, and I think they're just going to tire out Devin Booker. Like it's going to be kind of a rough game for him coming back, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, first game back is not always going to be the best, but D Book is the guy that can, I feel like, do it whenever he needs to. Um, Moving on, Thursday, 2 games on Thursday. Starting off, Nets, Sixers. We already know Ben Simmons isn't playing. A weird thing, though, Ben Simmons is going to be on the sideline for this game. So, stop. What are your thoughts? What's gonna go down in Philadelphia when everybody sees Ben on the bench?
Obviously, they're going to boo, but you know what I think would be hilarious if like the 76ers just didn't acknowledge him. Like their fans just didn't like notice him at all. I feel like that would tear him up inside. Like because I think he's like filing a claim or something against the 76ers for like
Mhm.
emotional trauma, and he already said his
Grievance.
yeah, agree, like he already said his return is gonna be bad. Like he's gonna use that as a key point in his grievance. But he already said he was gonna do it. So what if the 76ers fans just didn't acknowledge him and he had no case against them? Like I think that would
That
be
would be
hilarious.
awesome. That'd be awesome. I mean, if you're gonna file a claim like that, and any player that left the team can do that. I mean, James Harden could do that for the Rockets. Kyrie could do that. I mean, Kyrie kind of did do that for the Celtics. He got my man's locked up for 5 years, but free the water bottle too. Um, other than that, getting on to the actual game, Joel Embiid unstoppable, but so are Katie and Kyrie, and the game is in Philly, meaning Kyrie should be good to go, fresh off a 50-point performance. And you guys can't lie, that 50-point performance was the definition of smooth, the definition of
Kyrie
like
Irving.
Kyrie
That was
Irving.
Kyrie
Off
Irving.
Yeah.
19 shot attempts, I think he hit
Yeah.
12 threes or
Yeah.
something like that, or took 12 threes, maybe made 8 of them, something like that, something of that nature. But scoring 50 points, he only got 11 of his points from the line, which is way less than what Joel Embiid gets. I think the Nets are going to go on a little run right now, and I think this is going to be a big game that keeps it going.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that the Nets are kind of going to be the all the way back. I do think they're going to end up being like a 7 seed just because of where their record's at right now. And I think they're going to end up facing the whoever's that 2 seed in that first round. I think they're going to beat whoever the 2 seed is. Like imagine we see a Philadelphia 76ers and Brooklyn Nets first round matchup.
That would
Like
be insane.
Be crazy.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
I'll
Which,
take the
that would
76ers.
be. You're gonna go Sixers, Will.
I'm gonna go Sixers. I think they stand them up tonight at home. Joel Embiid's probably gonna be at the free throw line half the game. And Harden will probably do his pieces too. So
Right,
Oh yeah, I
sounds pretty
feel like
fair.
it's kind of it's funny how everyone forgets that this is also James Harden's return facing Brooklyn because
Yeah,
that
but he was
didn't
only there for like a year.
yeah, but that didn't really end too well. Like he's kind of or he was kind of public with his complaints about Kyrie, right?
Right.
Like with
So maybe they might have a little something like who knows, but the good news is it's not at Brooklyn, it's at Philly, so it's not like the fans are gonna get involved or it's not like there's gonna be anything on the Jumbotron. So I think it's,
yeah,
if anything it'll be player to player, which might even be worse. Maybe even coach to player, who knows what James Harden can do. Same with Kyrie Irving, two guys who could just they could really actually like maybe end that in a fight on the court. Like this might be a Malice at the Palace type situation. But finishing up our games, on Thursday, the Nuggets taking on the Warriors. The Warriors falling off, I'd say, and Stav talked about it on the last episode. Missing out on Draymond Green is huge. They don't have anybody that's going to contain Nikola Jokic. I think this is going to be a double-digit win for the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets are going to win. I saw a perfect comparison of Klay Thompson. He's literally Duncan Robinson with an attitude. And
right as of right now.
Yeah, no, right now.
Yeah. Not prime Clay,
Yeah.
not prime Clay.
No, I don't want to really disrespect Clay, but like right now, I think that's a perfect comparison. I feel like the Warriors are kind of falling apart. They really need Draymond.
That's
Take the
facts.
dubs.
You'll take the dubs. All right,
I'll take the
sounds like a
dubs.
plan. That's gonna
Will's
wrap up
hating
our.
the world.
Yeah, well, I know what Will's approach is. It's if all three of us pick the same team, then we're wrong. So I respect Will for
Yeah, no, I
stepping in and
appreciate
really
that.
filling in for that. Will, I appreciate you, Will.
Yeah, I do appreciate
Of
that.
course.
Yeah, all right. So moving on, we got some questions that got sent in from Instagram. Thank you for everybody that sent those in. I think we're gonna start doing that more. I think that's something that we can implement. I don't know what episodes we're gonna start doing them in. From here on out, it depends on, I guess, which episodes don't have as much content. But I thought this would be a good episode to kind of get things in. So our first question, shout out my boy Charlie. Sleeper team for the NBA playoffs this year. Maybe a team that's in the bubble to make the play-in that you guys think will make the play-in, or a team that's already in the playoffs that isn't really getting that much hype. Who do we think that can make a little run?
Hold on, I don't want to interrupt, but I kind of do at the same time. This is breaking news. MLB
Okay.
plans to cancel 2 more series, bringing the first 2 weeks of the regular season to cancellation. But
Wow.
anyways, back
Yep.
to what we were saying.
Yeah, so
Um,
I guess I can get things started if you guys want me to. I have a team from each side. First off, I'm gonna go with the Mavericks, the 5 seed. I feel like that's not like they're not a top 3 seed, which is kind of what I'm taking for a sleeper team. Mavs coming in at 5. Luka Doncic is playing great basketball, and after the trade that they made, they're playing awesome. I think they're going to continue to thrive throughout this whole second half of the season. Or I think there's only like 15. How many games is there left? There's not a ton of games
Yeah,
left,
there's
right?
like 15 left.
Yeah, so I think that the Mavs are a great team out of the West. I think having that star in Luka is going to get them a long way. On the Eastern side, first off, I want to say what's the opposite of a sleeper team? I'm awake on these guys. Like,
Yeah,
I don't even
favorite.
know what I would say.
Favorite.
No, not a favorite, because like this is a team that gets a lot of hype, but I think is bad. Is the Chicago
Ooh.
Bulls?
Yes.
Um,
I'm glad you
yeah,
said that.
yes.
they don't beat good teams ever. They play a lot of bad teams. They've already fallen down to the 4 seed, and they're going to continue to slip down. A team that, I mean, I'm not going to name the Nets at the 8, but I'm going to go right back to the Hawks and Trae Young. They're a team that, I mean, they did it last year at a low seed. They got all as far as they did, beating some great teams along the way. So the Atlanta Hawks at the 10 seed is my Eastern Conference team.
Interesting.
I like those. I'll start off in the West. I know I just kind of hated on them, but I'll go with the Nuggets. I think they're right in the middle of the pack.
Mhm.
I think they're a perfect example of someone that could make a run in the playoffs, team that could build together towards the end of the season, possibly put things together and knock out a couple teams. Who knows? I mean, I know it's going to be tough to get out the Suns and even the Grizzlies, but I mean, depending on who they play, they definitely do have a shot.
Right.
I mean, obviously, right now they would be playing the Mavericks, but like
Yeah. I mean,
that
like no
would
matter
be
what, I
that would
think if
be
they're any team that's on the
depending on
bottom
what
half is going to have a tough matchup.
exactly. And I think just them being a good team as a whole, I feel like they'll bring a good matchup. Could be a good sleeper. And in the East, I feel like they're not as a sleeper anymore. It's our team.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the come up, but I feel like we're still in that sleeper category. We're trending upwards at the right time, and I feel like the energy is just there. I feel like I can't leave them out. But if not, honestly, our matchup in the playoffs right now, the Cavs.
Yeah, that's what. All
No,
right.
right now we're
Bulls.
matched up with the Bulls.
Which
I mean, the
After the
Bulls.
pick.
My bad.
the Bulls
Yeah,
stink.
the Bulls
So I'm
stink.
not mad about
We
that.
could definitely beat the Bulls.
I don't think the C's will finish as the 5 seed. I think we might be in the top 3.
I think
I
maybe
think we
4.
could get up there.
I want the C's to get a 4 spot, especially for that first round matchup against the Bulls. Hypothetically, if the Bulls drop to 5, I think we sweep the Bulls, especially with the first 2 games at home.
Mhm.
But anyways, kind of, Will, I think that wraps up your picks, right, for your sleepers?
Yeah.
Okay. Western Conference, the Jazz. I think the Jazz are major sleepers. I feel like everybody, year in and year out, everyone forgets about the Jazz. They still have
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell, who's a
that's
superstar
facts.
in my opinion.
They
still
always
have
get
Rudy.
it done in the playoffs.
Yeah, they have Rudy Gobert, who's year in and year out defensive player of the year. Like Mike Conley's a stud. Like they have a lot of guys who just don't get recognition. They're a 4 spot right now, and this kind of contradicts what you said, Griff, about the Mavericks. But I think the Jazz can handle their business in the first round. I don't know if they're. I think they need to get up to that 3 spot to kind of make some actual noise in the playoffs. Maybe get to the conference finals. I don't see them beating the Suns because I do think the Suns are going to make it out of the West. But out of the East, my sleeper team is the Cavs. I love the Cavs. I think Darius Garland, what he's doing, is going so unnoticed. Like the other night, I think against the 76ers, he put up like 26 and 19. And then last night, he put up like 41
Last
points.
night,
And how many assists did he have?
I think he had like 13 or
Yeah,
14.
he had like 41 points and 14 assists or something. It's crazy. He's carrying them. And
Yeah,
Jared Allen is going to be out for a little bit, so that's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that without
they're going to
their
need
center
Evan
piece of the
Mobley to
defense.
step up.
Yeah, exactly. But then then you got a guy like Evan Mobley who's exceeding all expectations. He's probably going to be the rookie of the year. I like the Cavs. I really like the way they're trending. And who knows in the future? I know this is just we're talking about this year, but like Colin Sexton coming back only makes that team a lot better. So
Right, that's facts. First off, I want to say I like how we all had separate teams, so we can be watching out for those teams, see how they're doing. All middle of the pack teams except for the Hawks, who's currently in the play-in. I like all those teams. The NBA this year is very evenly spread, I would say, and it makes it a lot more entertaining. So, moving on, I'm glad that we get back to the Seahawks now that I'm a little bit warmed up because when I was talking about them earlier, I was very upset. But we got a nice little question. Shout out D. Thoughts on the parallelism of OKC, as in the OKC's Thunder, in Seattle trading Russell Wilson for the future, and which one is going to be greater in the long run? So I'll get things started once again. I thought about this question for a while actually, and there's a big difference between what we did with Russell Wilson and what Oklahoma City has done with who they do it with. They did it with Chris Paul, with Paul George, with Russell Westbrook. So first off, that's a big difference. They traded a couple superstars. We traded one. We got some picks. And to speak upon the picks, the Thunder have like 20 picks coming up in the next 2-3 years. The Seahawks, all they did was get their picks back. So I could see how it looks originally, but you have to take into effect how many picks we lost in the Jamal Adams trade. All we did pick wise was even ourselves back out. We gained a couple of second rounders. Oklahoma City. I like making these cross sport comparisons. Oklahoma City is a lot more set for the future than the Seahawks are. Seahawks are young in the NFL, but Oklahoma City just has so many picks, and I'm interested to see your thoughts on it, Will.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like it's a tough comparison to make just because one, we're so like young into these like early transitions into like the future for franchises. Like we're seeing a lot of teams trend toward these like ways if like however they seem fit. But I really feel like Oklahoma is setting themselves up for a nice future because they're already starting off strong. Like they're young guys, their picks, they're making the right moves. Like it's like obviously room to make mistakes because they have so many damn picks, but like they're hitting on all of them. And even if like they let's say like hypothetically we'll put a number they have like 20 picks, let's say like 5 to 10 of them hit, like you have a lot
That's
of trade bait
that's a
too.
third of your It's a third of your
Like
roster,
like
or
even if
2/3 of
like
your roster.
at that point, whoever's a star, whoever's looking to move, like I mean, like
Like,
you're looking to
okay.
land some, like you're looking to land some great players as well as the people that you already find in the draft. Like they might not even need to use them as trade. They can honestly just form a whole team just around their players that they pick.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the direction they're heading in.
I agree, especially because the Thunder have hit on some picks recently. Like Josh Giddey, he's awesome. Like he's kind of a walking double double triple double type guy who's very unselfish. A great, and then obviously you have Shea, who is a perfect building block who they got in the Paul George trade, right?
Yep.
That was yeah.
Mhm.
So they got two studs already, two young studs who are going to be in the league for a lot longer. They only have like they have a lot of money and they have a lot of picks. Like, I think their future is very bright, and I can see, like everyone said, how the parallels with Seattle and Oklahoma City from like the future only perspective, not including the past. However, I do think they intersect only just from the future, not
Yeah.
the past. Like you said, Griff, the Seahawks are just getting back their picks. The Thunder are gaining picks.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the Thunder sitting at 14th in the Western Conference. They haven't put it all together yet. They have a lot of time to do so. One comparison that is blatant through both of them, I think both teams are going through a rebuild. The Thunder obviously started off a little bit sooner than the Seahawks did, but if the Seahawks make a couple more trades, and I'm guessing they will, to get a lot younger as well, I honestly wouldn't even mind it because I've watched a lot of the Thunder games this year as well. I've watched a lot of highlights, and like you said, stuff they've hit on a lot of guys, and they're all young. Josh Giddey, rookie. You said potentially Mobley. I think Josh Giddey. I mean, he's won the past four rookies of the month. I think he's going to be our rookie of the year. I think the Thunder are going to get another good pick. I mean, they're going to have like 4 picks in the first round this year, but their pick is going to be a good one. And I think they're going to have a couple top 15 picks, and they're just going to keep going like that for a couple of years until they build up this foundation where the guys that hit stay, and the guys that are like good but not great, they trade those away for more picks, and they just keep going like this. Sam Presti, wait, no, Sam Presti's their GM, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Sam Presti really set them up for the future to just keep recycling this. And it's literally like, you're going to lose for a couple years, understood. And I'm hoping this is the route that the Seahawks are going. We're going to be fun for a couple years, but we're going to stink. And then just wait until these guys are hitting their primes, and we're going to be darn good. So it's going to be a very, very long run for the Seahawks. The Thunder have already started it. So they're definitely both rebuilding. I think OKC is more set up for the future though. So that was a great question. I like comparing between sports because I feel like we don't see it that often. The
hmm
cross sport comparison of like what teams kind of resemble other teams across the other leagues. And we hear about it a lot in like the soccer world, a lot of soccer comparisons, but I'm glad that we got a little basketball to football comparison. Um, Next question. This may not come off the top of the head for you guys, so I'll get into it right away because I have the questions up. The biggest sleeper in March Madness. The first name that comes mind to me, UNC. I know Will is probably thinking the same as well, but there's
Mhm.
there's a few names. There's a few teams that I really think can make a couple of runs. Once again, Tennessee, Arkansas. There's those. I think those are my big three. There's UNC, there's Tennessee, there's Arkansas. There's so many other teams that I can say. But I guess I'll get into a little bit about a couple of them. So Tennessee played Arkansas in the regular season. To end the regular season, we saw Tennessee win that at home. I think Tennessee is a great at home team. I think they play a great team ball. They have the shooters for it to really make it maybe to the Elite Eight. And I think Arkansas has kind of they have like the same level of foundation, just in different ways. They don't really have the shooters, they have the bigs, and they have the athleticism, and then they have the guy, which I talk about it a lot. Having that guy for you in March Madness is a big deal. JD Note for Arkansas, definitely that guy. And then if you want to talk about UNC, Caleb Love could potentially be that guy. If not, it's
Mhm.
going to be Armando Bacot. But Armando Bacot is the guy that we know what we're going to get from him. We're going to get a double-double from him, maybe a 20-point double-double from him every game. But what's Caleb Love going to do? And I think if Caleb Love stays consistent throughout the tournament, throughout this ACC tournament, and then to make a little run in March Madness, Caleb Love's really going to be that piece that we're missing on. Any of you guys have any names that come up to mind?
You kind of had similar ones to me. I mean, obviously, I think we've all kind of been on the same page. Like,
Yeah,
I'm rooting for UNC.
yeah.
That's like obviously we all know that's my team. That's our team, Griff. Tennessee was another one. I like them a lot. I think they have the capabilities to make a run. I was also thinking. I mean, obviously Arkansas. I feel like UCLA should be in that talk a little bit too. I think they still have a solid squad this year. They can still make some noise. I know we talked about on this episode, but I feel like St. Mary's sneaking in out of that conference could low-key make some noise. I feel like they're a well put together team. I mean they pulled it together almost against Gonzaga. I feel like if you can hold your own against Gonzaga, I know as much as we kind of debunk them a lot, but they're still a team that beats very good teams like in the tournament. Like I feel like if you can hold your own against a team like that, you're definitely eligible to make some noise in March Madness.
For sure.
A team that I feel like I've talked about a lot, Villanova, just because of my superstition of college basketball teams that make free throws, make it far in the tournament. They're a 3 seed, and I think they can make some noise. I think when it comes down to it, they shoot 85% as a team from the line. That's kind of what I base my predictions off of. And I mean, Villanova's kind of built for college basketball. They're a big basketball school. They're coach, seasoned vet. Like these guys are ready for the spot. I think they're gonna make some noise. I can definitely see them going at least to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So a couple of names. Another team I want to throw out there potentially is UConn, ranked at 20 in the nation. By the way, shout out to UNC on the latest AP poll on Monday. We're ranked 25, so we're
Let's
back.
go.
We're back. I don't want to hear it. But UConn,
I want
another
to break
team.
some news, actually.
Oh,
There
we
was
have more
breaking
news to break.
news for ACC tournament. Buddy Boeheim has been suspended against the game versus Duke.
Oh, well, there goes that. I don't think so.
Yeah,
Oh, so there goes the 500 because they're not winning that without Buddy.
that's what I'm saying. That's a big game. I know they have to win the ACC to really get in, but like honestly, after seeing UNC beat Duke, like Cuse could actually, if they had full
Hughes,
strength,
okay.
they have a team to beat Duke.
Right. So here's what I have to say about Q's. I've watched them a lot in the past few weeks, so I know exactly what they're gonna do. Like, because it's easy with Jim Boeheim, and the best part about Boeheim is it's easy. You know what they're gonna do, but the thing is, it works. Duke though, they don't have a lot of depth, which is big for Syracuse because the way that Syracuse loses, and we've seen it. They've lost some games that they had big leads in. Um, One that comes to mind recently is against the University of Miami on senior night in the Carrier Dome. That's a big loss. They were up big. What Miami did, and then what Florida State didn't do until late, was a full court press. These guys can't really beat a full court press. And once they get past half court, there's not a lot of seconds left. I mean, they used up pretty much all 8 of those seconds that they have. And if Duke can successfully run a full court press, run them out of the gym early, then Duke could look to maybe bring in their backups like in the second half. Other than that, though, they're going to have some struggles against Syracuse just because of their depth. So it's like
Yeah,
both teams' weaknesses match up, and then both teams' strengths match up. So it's going to be like it's just whoever's going to come out there shooting hot and playing better defense. Syracuse's zone is going to eat Duke alive. It's going to eat Paolo Banchero alive because Paolo is more of an ISO guy. You can't run ISO against zone because the next guy will just up. It's crazy how like they're evenly matched in all terms except for skill, where Duke obviously holds the advantage. So
yeah.
if it's just going to be straight up on skill, it's going to be Duke. I think if it comes down to a coaching battle, Jim Boeheim's going to take away from that. They're going to win this game with or without Buddy. I mean, they have another Boeheim that literally starts for them, so it's like the same guy. You're just missing out on a guy that's like 2 or 3 inches taller. Um, last thing I have to say about Syracuse, I hate going on rants about teams that are potentially or are most likely not going to win this game. Uh, they have a center, Sidibe is his last name, who at the beginning of the season was supposed to be their starting center. Dealt with a lot of injuries. He's only played 11 games this season. He's going to come in and fill that hole. It's going to move Jimmy down to a guard role because that's usually what Buddy plays. Jimmy's a little bit shorter, though, so Jimmy will fit in just well. It's going to be Joe Girard, Jimmy Boeheim, Cole Swider, Jesse Edwards, or maybe Frank Anselem, probably Frank Anselem, and then Sidibe. So I think Buddy Boeheim being out, that's their leading scorer. He averages like 20 a game. That's a big deal. Syracuse has enough, though, to sneak away with a dub that they shouldn't get. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm not ruling it out 100%. So I'm glad we brought that one up. That was good breaking news. For what I was going to say about UConn, just real quick, their lack of consistency is kind of might screw them. That's what happens in March. You have to put your best days together. I think they're coached very well. I think they've had a few guys step up. UConn, a sleeper team. But moving on, this is going to be our last question. We got a few more. I appreciate all the questions that came in. But the last question that we're going to go with, let me pick the best one. We're going to go with, let's go. I'll answer this one first so you guys have a little time to think about it. Favorite moment from your favorite role player in any sport, any league, anything. I'm gonna go straight off role players. First off, my favorite thing in sports is when a role player goes off. James Posey, 2008 finals.
Oh.
He had like how, is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
That was a good one. That's a good one.
Stop. Go for it. I got another one.
Well, I was gonna go kind of about. I wasn't gonna say anyone specific. I was gonna talk about kind of James Posey and Eddie House in the 2008
Yes.
finals in that closeout
Yes.
game. They went berserk, and that just sticks with me, especially because it's the last Celtics championship since ever.
Yeah.
But
Since,
I was gonna say Eddie House specifically because I just can remember him just shooting lights out in that closeout game. But yeah, you kind of continue with what you were saying about James Posey.
Yeah, so James Posey, I mean, the big moment was that closeout game when, I mean, it kind of just, it was just those two just like trading shots off the bench to just like absolutely going off. I'll bring up another, I don't remember the exact stats, but there was another day where I think it was last year in the NBA Finals, Pat Connaughton had an absolute game. He had like 14, 15 points, but like, or no, he had like 20. And he had like 3 3-pointers, something like that. Pat Connaughton, my favorite role player of all time. Shout out to my boy Charlie for asking this question. Pat Connaughton, another big finals moment, another NBA moment. It's just I love seeing bench players go in and like changing a finals game. That doesn't happen very often. When it comes to the finals, it's about the star players, which is what it should be. But when someone like a Pat Connaughton comes in, drops 20 points, you're due to win that game. So that was a big game for my guy Pat, Mass made, Arlington native. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Those are good ones. Those are definitely good ones. I was definitely thinking about those ones. I'm trying to think, for the Sox, I wanted to say Joe Kelly was absolutely electric in our runs. Probably one of my
Yes.
favorite players to
Yeah, that's a
watch.
great
That's another good one.
Like,
That's
You can
great
get a
point.
lot out of the MLB.
Yeah, there was another. I can't remember. He closed us out in 2013. I
Koji
can't believe I can't
Uehara?
Oh,
remember his
Koji
name.
Uehara.
Yes,
Yeah.
Koji Yugihara, absolutely electric. I remember that one. I just like everything about that whole run that year was fantastic. I loved that year.
I mean, you could even bring up
In
Johnny
2018.
Gomes.
Johnny, yeah, there's like I wanted to mention the Sox because there's just so many guys that you can really just like throw out there. Because like technically
No, that's
everyone
facts.
there is a role player for the Sox.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna be
Yeah.
honest, like we have our
Brock Holt.
big team. I was gonna say Brock Holt.
You guys are making me reminisce right now. That was a great question.
Yeah. So I think maybe we should get more into MLB moments like that. So maybe on an episode coming up, we'll really dive into our favorite Red Sox role players of all time, because there's so many. Because in the
Yeah,
MLB, there's
there's
guys
so
that aren't
many.
stars that really step up because they have to. Because in the MLB, it's not like your best three hitters can hit. I mean Shane Victorino. All right.
I mean,
Uh,
like, we can
But
be
yeah,
here all
no,
day.
we got to do
yeah,
that next
yeah,
episode because the MLB
yeah,
is
yeah. Well, yeah, the MLB. There's
stupid.
so many, so I'm glad we brought up a couple NBA guys. But I think that's gonna wrap it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you after Selection Sunday.
Yep.
Wow, what a ride it's been. We sleep in May. We will catch you guys on Wednesday, Tuesday. I always mess that up. And peace.
See ya.
Peace.